Factor the polynomial. To solve this question, we need to factor out one of each type of variable, an x, a y, a z, and the power of each of those variables that we factor out is going to be determined by the greatest common factor between all of the exponents that are present. So let's start with our x variables. These are all like terms because they're all dealing with the variable x. So we can factor out a common factor between all three of these, and the greatest common factor between them is x to the fifth. That is the greatest exponent that we can factor out of each of these variables. So let's do that math. Starting with the first one, x to the 8th power minus x to the 5th power would leave us with x to the 3rd power. X to the 5th minus an x to the 5th, this is the second one, would give us 0. So we would have no x left in that second factor. Then in the third factor, we would have x to the 6 minus x to the 5, which would give us x to the 1, or just a plain x without an exponent. So now we will have an x to the 5th factored out of this entire polynomial. We'll leave space for our y variable and our z variable. And now we can write our new x variables in. So we have x to the 3rd left over, y, z, plus no x, but there was a coefficient 3, so let's not forget that. 3, leave space for y and z, plus regular x, leave space for y and z. Now let's take a quick look at our answer choices. If we look right away, we can see that there is only one option that has an x to the 5 pulled out in front or factored out in front, and that is answer choice B, which is our correct answer. For the sake of the test, you would be able to mark answer choice B as your correct answer and move on without having to do any more math, but for the sake of the video, if you'd like to see all of this solved out, I will solve out the entire thing. Now let's take a look at our y variables. The greatest common factor among the y variables is y to the 3rd, so we will start by factoring out y to the 3rd. If we take a y to the 3rd away from a y to the 9, we would be left with y to the 6th. Subtracting 3 from y to the 10 would leave us with y to the 7th, and then subtracting y to the 3rd from y to the 3rd would leave us with nothing, so there would be no y variable in that last factor. So now we have successfully pulled out or factored out a y to the 3rd. Now for the last step, we can look at our z variables. The greatest common factor among these is z to the 3rd. So we'll pull out a z to the 3rd. If we take z to the 3rd away from z to the 3rd, we would be left with nothing. So there is no z variable in our first factor of this polynomial. If we take away z to the 3rd from z to the 4th, we'd be left with just one z. And then if we took z to the 3rd away from z to the 5, we would be left with z squared, z to the 2nd. If we look back at our correct answer, answer choice B, we'll see that they all match, making B our correct answer. Just keep in mind that anything to the 1 power is just itself. So z to the 1 is the same as z without any exponent, and x to the 1 is the same as x without any exponent.